Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders at Great Millstone who taught us his truth and who rule well, peace and love, salutations and mercy be unto the hopeful elect, you Akim and few Akwatim that believe in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai with your whole heart, mind, body, and spirit. Peace, love, salutations and mercy be unto the hopeful elect. Before this lesson, get started, I just want to ask, that you go and subscribe into, my backup channel, which is entitled GMS Inquire Early 3. I've been pushing the word, doing the work of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh on this channel, for the past 2 weeks, given the fact that, this channel here, GMS Inquire Early 2, has received its second strike. The first strike that I got, was for a video entitled Implanted. And basically they say that it violated their terms and policies, dealing with what they call medical misinformation. And the second strike that I received was about, 12 days ago. And it was on a video called The Accuser, wants to incriminate all Hebrew Israelites, and then that one, they got me for citing, or they say that I cited hate speech, but for the most part, this is what's going to happen, but as much as we can, we want to keep these channels going, so that we can keep, pushing the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So Baba Kasha, go and subscribe into GMS Inquiry Early 3. Now for the meat and potatoes, I was just doing a little research into, the MCs, or I should say MIs, which is an abbreviated form of saying micro and implant. And, lately in the news, you had this individual, whose name is Elon Musk, who is just simply an insider, and how he was mentioning that his Neuralink, coming 2020, maybe the FDA, will give him the approval and go ahead to test it out on human beings. But there's many other companies that are out there, that have already gotten the go ahead, by the FDA, which the FDA is the Food and Drug, I believe it stands for the Food and Drug Administration, so they give the green light, certain technologies, certain foods and things of that nature, so this company that got the green light already, which will start, or has maybe have already started, within New York, is a company called Synchron. And it says Synchron receives a green light from FDA to begin breakthrough trial of implantable brain-computer interfaces in U.S. New York, NY, July 28th, 2021, the year of the hastening of the coming of the day of our Lord Yahweh Shai. Synchron, a venture-backed brain data transfer company, today announced that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has approved its investigational device exemption, IDE, applications for its flagship product, the Stenrod motor neuroprothesis. This early feasibility study, EFS, of the device will begin later this year at Mount Sinai Hospital, New York, and will assess the safety and efficacy in the patients with severe paralysis. Outcomes will include the use of brain data to control digital devices and achieve improvements in functional independence. The FDA granted breakthrough devices designation to Synchron in August 2020. So as you can see, there's companies that have already gotten the green light, and they're going to move to start this, because this has to happen according to biblical prophecy. Now I read in here somewhere that they already have another study going already, out in Australia, but they're moving to get one started or already have gotten one started here in the United States. Synchron's North Star is to achieve whole brain data transfer, continue Oxley. The blood vessel provides surgery-free access to all regions of the brain and at scale. Our first target is the motor cortex for treatment of paralysis, which represents a large unmet need for millions of people across the world and market opportunity of 20 billion. Synchron is collaborating with Carnegie Mellon University, the University of Pittsburgh Medical Centers, and Mount Sinai Health System, New York City, on the new study, the COMMAND trial. A total 6 patients, and it had to be 6, right, are planned for the trial with enrollment beginning later this year. So they got this thing going already. But just to pretty much, put that out there, we're living in a time, where knowledge has increased, from them, having these big giant computers, with big chips inside of them. Within a little amount of time, they were able to master that technology, and now put the same technology that they would have on those big computers on little small microchips, about the size of a grain of rice, some even smaller than that. But it says in the book of Daniel 12:4, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So the wisdom, within the aspect of this technology, although Esau is using it for a carnal purpose, that knowledge has increased. So now they're able to take these microchips and put them in the brain, of individuals that have paralysis, and allow them to get their motor functions back, so they're able to move their limbs, they're able to move their legs, wiggle their toes. And if they have a loss of limbs, then they have the ability to control, biometric limbs, or robotic limbs, that have been given unto them. And many people will flock to something like this and get it because it promises them an opportunity to have something that they have once lost. So the scripture mentioned that many shall be deceived, by the miracles that could be done, by this particular device. Now, within the, because you heard within the article, they mentioned surgical free, which means they don't have to cut out, a portion of your skull, all right, to implement to this thing in regards to like a big portion of it. They might have to, drill a hole, and slide a mesh in there, or slide a tiny chip in there. But that's all it takes, so it doesn't take this elaborate procedure, to get this thing going. Hey, the scripture say within the book of Revelation 13:16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads. Now, this is something interesting, or something else that's interesting that I came across. When you go down into the word forehead, because we look into the word charagma a lot, and the word charagma is pretty much going into the procedure, of how they're going to implement, or implant the mark, you know. But the spirit had me look up the word forehead, and the word there is metapon. All right, metapon, and it says the space between the eyes, the forehead. And what is the space in between the eyes and the forehead? That's your brain. So that's where they're going to put that. But the root word of metapon is what? It's meta. It's interesting. It's meta. And the word meta means with, after, beyond, because, or behind. Ultimately what they're trying to do is they're trying to, take the human phase into the next level, but at the same time of promising you, this grand adventure, this transformation, this ascent, to project you, into the new phase of evolution. They're using this as an opportunity to get more control. There's no reason besides this of why you have this particular thing that's going on, within the earth, with the new V, which is dubbed the name, OMICRON. But when you take away two letters, what does that word spell? It spells MIRCO. And Salakia, MICRO, Salakia. So the OMICRON, all right, when you take away two letters, it spells something else. And this is how they think, when it comes down to, wordplay. There's always something hidden, but with this situation that's going on, as you can see what's happening within Sweden, they're using it to put, the PASSPORT on it for the V, the icky Vicky, to show that people have gotten it, because, there are people that are counterfeiting these things. And you had a guy in Germany that just killed himself, as well as his family, his wife and their 3 children, because he was afraid that they were going to be arrested because he somehow came across one of those fake, PASSPORT for his wife, to use at work, and their bosses found out, so supposedly, according to, the article, he took his life, and that was after he took the life of his wife and his children, so this thing has people bugging out, it has disrupted your way of life, your livelihood is being stripped away from you. And now that they have this new, OMICRON, that is out there, they're saying that it's going to take at least three more of those things, just to subdue this. And people are tired of that. So the time is going to come when they're going to do just how they done within Sweden. And people are going to voluntarily, get something, the MOTB, the Karagba, just to be able to avoid this situation and all. And let's not forget, the individual that's in office right now said that you were going to rule on this, mark my word. Now, another thing that I came across, the spirit just had me looking up different things, on what's going on with this MOTB. Now, I'm not sure exactly when this was drafted, or introduced, but it says This is from a website called LegiScan. You know, bringing people to the progress, and it says HF 259 2021 through 2022 89th General Assembly, Iowa House Bill 259. It says Spectrum Committee Bill status engrossed on February 8th, 2021. So that's the answer to my question. Actions 2021 0331. So March 31st, Amendment S-311. Now here's the point. It says summary for an act concerning the implementation or the implantation or insertion of the MCC, I'm gonna call it that, which is the MOTB, or other devices in the employees by employers. Now, as much as you have, you know, states that are drafting bills to give people these, you know, and allow their employers to give it them, you have other states that are forbidding it, you know. And this is only the force, all right. This is only the force, you know, procedure of employers forcing their employees to get it. So they can still willingly get it. Now, if they say something along the lines of, yeah, well, you won't be able to continue your employment, you know, unless you get this thing, then what are people gonna do? You know, they're gonna willingly go and get it. Now, reading this article, this is from the Michigan House of Republicans. All right, and this is from Representative Kaylee. All right, plan to prohibit employers from requiring, all right, people to receive the MCC for workers in Michigan passes House. Now, this was the force, you know, forcing them to get it. All right, they can willingly get it. And this is what inspired me to go into that Daniel, the 12th chapter, verse 4, because it says, with the way technology has increased over the years, and as it continues to grow, it's important Michigan job providers balance the interests of the company with the employee's expectation of privacy. You know, so she mentioned that technology has increased. So the knowledge concerning technology has increased. And now they're able to use, you know, tiny, you know, computer chips inside of devices to give them to people, you know, and have people take them inside of their bodies. So all of this is biblical prophecy, you know, and we can't wait till this thing really pops off, because once it really pops off, then that's when the end of this bitch come. So with that, I truly hope that this lesson was edifying. Until the next time, and shalom.